It took me 2 years of marriage to Isabella Vance to realize she was in love with some Z-list actor. The kid was handsome, a smooth talker, and most importantly, full of the reckless energy she craved. For him, Isabella blew off a board meeting that cost the company a seven-figure penalty. Meanwhile, she was jet-setting around the world with him, buying him luxury cars and designer watches, and staying up all night at concerts. "Ryan, I need 2 tickets to the Chloe Reed show. Have them delivered by 6. I could hear the actor, Leo, snickering in the background. "Bella, babe, don't waste your time. This old man is from a different generation. You think he even knows who Chloe Reed is?" After hanging up, I leaned back in my leather office chair and stared at the thick stack of VIP passes for that very concert sitting on my desk. A slow smile spread across my face. In the 2 years we'd been married, Isabella had never once treated our house like a home. The charade finally crumbled at the annual corporate gala. Isabella lost a game of truth or dare, and the crowd, giddy with champagne, demanded she give a French kiss to the person she loved most. As all eyes turned to me, her husband, Isabella grabbed Leo, Sterling, by the collar and kissed him without a moment's hesitation. After a brief, stunned pause, Leo melted into her embrace, returning the kiss with fervor. A dead silence fell over the ballroom. When they finally broke apart, Leo's face was flushed with triumph. "Babe, you said you had a surprise for me tonight. Was this it?" Isabella took his hand, her voice ringing out for everyone to hear. "This is Leo. He's the man I love." A scattered, hesitant applause rippled through the room, punctuated by hushed whispers. "What the hell? Ryan Miller is standing right there. How could she? He's a kept man. What's he gonna do? I bet he goes home and licks her boots." Pathetic. If that were me, I'd have flipped this whole table over by now. And that's why you'll never marry into money. I downed the rest of my scotch in one gulp and stood to leave, but Isabella's sharp voice cut through the noise. "Where do you think you're going? Don't you dare walk out on me." I turned back slowly, forcing a smile. "No, of course not. Just had a little too much to drink. Needed the restroom." Her eyes narrowed with contempt. "Whatever. Just get back here. If you think you're leaving early, you've got another thing coming." With that, she turned her back on me, dragging Leo along to schmooze with the senior board members. What was supposed to be a corporate gala had become their personal engagement party. I finally escaped the suffocating ballroom and found a quiet fire escape. I lit a cigarette, the smoke curling into the cold city air. This wasn't the life I wanted. I came from nothing. Marrying into the Vance family was, to outsiders, like winning the lottery. No one knew I was just a tool, a capable manager Isabella's father had acquired to run the company his daughter couldn't be bothered with. After finishing the cigarette, I sprayed myself with cologne, popped a piece of gum to kill the smell, and headed back inside. Isabella was already tipsy, her words slurring as she spoke to Leo. "Ryan, he's nothing more than a stray dog my family took in. You don't have to be afraid of him. From now on, you can order him around, too. He wouldn't dare say a word." She spotted me and waved me over. "Hey, you, come here. This is Leo Sterling. He's my real husband now. What he says goes." "Got it." I glanced at Leo, my jaw tightening. "Got it." A smug grin spread across Leo's face. "Mr. Miller," he said, testing the waters, "could you give me a drink?" I took a deep breath, poured him a glass of whiskey, and handed it to him. He didn't take it. With 2 hands, "Please," he said, enjoying every second of it. After the gala, Isabella insisted that Leo drive her home. I was just a passenger in their car. Back at our penthouse, she strode past me without a glance, pulling Leo straight into her bedroom. We'd always had separate rooms. I'd never even been inside hers. It wasn't long before the sounds from behind her closed door filled the apartment. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the glittering New York skyline as I dialed a number. "Hello, what's the status on the asset transfer?" "We're at 75%, the voice on the other end replied. "Most of the key clients are on board. Another 3 months, and we'll have a rest." "Good. Make it faster if you can," I said, exhaling a plume of smoke against the glass. "We're pushing as hard as we can, sir. Don't worry." I hung up just as the sounds from the bedroom faded. A few moments later, Leo emerged, wearing one of my silk robes. He flinched when he saw me in the living room, but quickly recovered, sprawling onto the couch and turning on the TV as if he owned the place. After the gala, Leo Sterling became the company's new golden boy. Endorsement deals and projects came flooding in for him. Isabella, completely infatuated, canceled several high-profile campaigns that already had talent attached, just to give them to Leo. The company lost nearly $10 million in breach of contract fees. She didn't care. If Leo wanted to fly to Paris, she'd drop a meeting with a client. If he wanted to see the Aegean Sea, she'd be on the next flight. She, a woman who never stayed up past 10, was now pulling all-nighters playing video games with him and screaming at concerts for his favorite pop stars. One afternoon, after 3 months of radio silence, Isabella called me out of the blue. "I need 2 tickets to the Chloe Reed concert tonight. Have them delivered." Her tone was the same as always, imperious, demanding. As she'd said, I was just a family dog. Before I could reply, Leo's mocking voice came through the phone. "Bella, babe, give the old man a break. He's so out of touch, he probably has to Google who Chloe Reed is." "I know who she is," I said calmly. "This year's breakout star." Leo feigned surprise. "Wow, the fossil follows pop culture. I'm impressed." I ignored him. "Isabella, there's a critical board meeting in 2 days. I need you here. We're heading to the Maldives right after the concert," she snapped. "You handle the meeting. That's what I pay you for." That was exactly what I was waiting to hear. After hanging up, I looked at the thick stack of Chloe Reed concert tickets on my desk and smiled. Chloe was the music industry's dark horse this year. Only 20, her sweet looks were completely at odds with her smoky, powerful voice, a combination that had made her an internet sensation and the undisputed It Girl of the Year. But to me, she had another, more important title, my employee. She was signed to my agency. Not Isabella's company, of course. My own. This concert was the flagship event we'd built for her, a sold-out show meant to cement her status as a superstar. I just never imagined Isabella and her boy toy would be fans. The night of the concert, the arena was electric, a roaring sea of people. We'd spared no expense on promotion. The marketing budget alone was staggering. I watched from a private skybox, a perfect vantage point to see Isabella and Leo down in the crowd. Leo, wearing a Chloe Reed Tour shirt, was screaming the lyrics at the top of his lungs. Isabella pouted beside him. "You never get this excited when you're with me." Leo wrapped an arm around her, planting a kiss on her cheek. "She's my idol, Bella. I dream of being a star like her. If you want a concert, I can make it happen. Just say the word." Leo's eyes lit up. "Really, babe? You do that for me?" "Of course. Yes, I love you so much." I watched them embrace, feeling nothing at all. Just then, my phone buzzed with 2 texts that came in simultaneously. The first was from Isabella. "I'm getting Leo the biggest concert this city has ever seen. You're in charge of it." The second was from my associate, Kevin. "Vance Holdings' asset transfer is 100% complete. We have full control of the equity." I shut off my phone and leaned back into the plush sofa, a profound sense of relief washing over me. Down below, the concert reached its explosive finale. The fans screamed, chanting Chloe's name as she took her final bow. "You were fantastic. I just sent $2 million to your account," I told Chloe backstage. Her face lit up with joy. Then she immediately crossed her arms, feigning suspicion. "Hey, you already paid me for the show. What's the extra cash for? This isn't some kind of casting couch situation, is it? Because I'm an artist, not." "You know," I chuckled. "Relax, you're my golden goose. Let's just say the boss is in a really good mood tonight. If you don't want it, I could take it back." No. I want it. Just then, a stagehand poked his head in. "Chloe, the VIP meet and greet is waiting. Are you ready?" Every show, we sold a handful of premium backstage passes. Chloe shot me a grin. "Gotta go, boss. I'll buy you a late-night pizza after." Curious to see her in action, I watched the meet and greet from a monitor in the dressing room. My eyes widened when I saw who the VIPs were: Isabella and Leo. I distinctly remembered those passes being sold to a couple of college kids. Leave it to Isabella to throw enough money at someone to get what she wanted. "Chloe, hi. I'm Leo Sterling. I'm a huge fan, and we're kind of in the same business," he stammered, his face bright red. "I'm so nervous. Can I please get a picture with you?" Chloe glanced down at her outfit, a one-of-a-kind designer piece. "I'm sorry," she said politely. "This is a custom gown. The designer has a strict no-close-up photos policy. Maybe next time." "Seriously, it's just a stupid dress. Isabella scoffed. I'm Isabella Vance, CEO of Vance Holdings. How much for the dress? I'll buy it. She pulled a thick wad of cash from her purse, at least $5,000, and slapped it on the table. Chloe looked from the cash to Isabella, her expression turning to ice. My identity wasn't a secret within my own company, so everyone knew the story of my marriage and how Isabella treated me. More importantly, Chloe Reed was not the sweet girl she played on stage. She glanced at the money with a dismissive smirk. Vance Holdings? Never heard of it. But judging by how cheap you are, it can't be that big of a deal. This much money wouldn't even cover one of the sequins on this dress. What did you just say to me? Isabella shrieked, looking ready to lunge across the table. Leo had to physically hold her back, but Chloe wasn't finished. Oh, wait. Now I remember, she said, tapping her chin with a look of mock revelation. You're that washed-up trust fund baby who flaunts her new boy toy everywhere. I've heard about you. Honestly, for an old cougar, your taste is tragic. I could introduce you to some guys in the industry who are actually A-listers, if you want. You little. I could have you blacklisted with one phone call. Chloe just made a face at her. I doubt it, she chirped, then turned and walked back into the dressing room. She winked at me. So, boss, how was my performance? I gave her a thumbs up. Spectacular. I'm giving you a $500,000 personal bonus for that. Oh my God, she squealed. Having a boss who throws money at problems is the absolute best. That night felt like a rebirth. I bought out a private club in Soho and invited every employee and artist from my company for an all-night party. There were no stuffy old executives here, just a vibrant crowd of young, hungry talent. We drank, we celebrated, we didn't stop until the sun came up. I was pulling myself off a couch amid the debris of the party when my phone rang. It was Isabella. The moment I answered, her hysterical screaming filled my ear. Ryan Miller, you have some nerve. You didn't come home last night. You have 30 minutes to get your ass in front of me, or you can stay out for good. Just then, Kevin, the associate who managed the asset transfer, sat up from the floor, rubbing his head. Sir, it's over. You don't have to take her crap anymore. Just ignore her. What can she do? I straightened my wrinkled collar and picked up my car keys. You all take it easy. I'm giving everyone a week off, paid, and tell accounting to cover all employee expenses for the week. Just, no houses or cars, I added with a laugh. I left the club to a chorus of cheers and drove to the Upper East Side penthouse, or rather, Isabella's penthouse. As soon as I walked in, I saw her on the couch, her face contorted with rage. Without a word, she grabbed a heavy crystal ashtray and hurled it at my head. I dodged just in time. It shattered against the wall behind me. Ryan, what the hell is wrong with you? I told you to arrange a concert for Leo. Why haven't you done anything? And I went by the office today. Where are all the senior employees? Is the company going bankrupt? And another thing, I want Chloe Reed blacklisted. You get on that. While she was still ranting, I walked calmly over and placed a folder on the coffee table in front of her. More papers? She snapped. I told you, you make the decisions from now on. Stop bothering me with this stuff. I'm afraid this one requires your signature, I said, though I've already signed my part. Confused, Isabella picked up the folder. Her face went dark as she read the words on the cover. Divorce agreement. After a long, tense silence, a cold laugh escaped her lips. Ryan, you want to divorce me? Are you serious? My signature is right there. Can't you read? For the first time, I was the one looking down on her. Whoosh, she threw the papers at my chest. Who the hell do you think you are? You begged me to marry you, remember? I didn't force you into this. I bent down, picked up the agreement, and smoothed it out. After we divorce, you'll be free to marry Leo. Won't that make you happy? You won't have to see my face around here anymore. Since when is my life any of your business? Don't think for a second that because you run day-to-day operations at Vance Holdings, you have any say in my life. You're my dog, Ryan. I'll let you know when I'm ready for a divorce. Not now. She smirked, thinking she held all the cards. And for this little stunt, you're going to learn a lesson. As of now, you are officially removed from all executive duties at Vance Holdings. I'm putting you in an entry-level sales position. That should free up your office for Leo. From now on, he can have a concert whenever he wants, do whatever he wants. She looked at me with smug satisfaction, certain she had crushed me. Remember this, Ryan. Without me, without Vance Holdings, you are nothing. Watch your tone when you speak to me. And from now on, you'll be home every night. If I find out you've stayed out again, you know what will happen." Just then, her phone rang. It was Leo. Her face instantly softened as she eagerly started telling him the good news, recounting how she had just put me in my place, leaving me standing alone in the middle of the room. Watching her, so gleeful and proud as she described my humiliation to her lover, the urgency to finalize the divorce suddenly faded. If I just walked away, I'd be letting them off way too easily. The next day, news of my demotion spread through the company like wildfire. At the same time, the story of Z-list actor Leo Sterling becomes CEO of Vance Holdings went viral and started trending on X. An actor, handsome, now a CEO, the combination of titles made Leo's popularity explode overnight. Seizing the moment, Leo held a press conference to officially announce his relationship with Isabella. "I wouldn't be where I am today without my Bella," he said to the cameras, his voice dripping with faux humility. "She has supported me and encouraged me every step of the way. I want to thank her and all of my fans who have loved me." On screen, he looked charming and sincere. Standing next to Isabella, they looked like the perfect power couple. Comments flooded the live stream. "Wait, I thought Isabella Vance was married. Now she's with this guy? You don't get it. Leo and Bella are true love. A queen following her heart, and he made it official as soon as he got famous. This is a real-life fairy tale. I'm so jealous. God, please send me a boyfriend like Leo." But just as their story reached its peak, a new headline completely eclipsed them, rocketing to the top of every entertainment site. Breaking: pop superstar Chloe Reed is in a relationship. In an interview with a swarm of paparazzi, Chloe was refreshingly blunt. "I've had a boyfriend for a while. We just kept it private," she said with a shrug. "But then I saw certain people getting praise for going public with their new arrangements. It inspired me to be honest with my fans, too. So yeah, thanks for asking. I was sipping green tea when I saw the news and nearly spit it all over my desk. I immediately called her. 'Chloe, are you insane? I gave you a week off? Why are you talking to reporters? My boss was getting stabbed in the back. You think I'm just going to sit around and do nothing? Don't worry, I've got this.' You've got nothing. Post a retraction now. This could ruin your career." Chloe was still a new artist. A scandal this big would attract an army of trolls and haters, something neither she nor the company needed. "And another thing," I added, "what boyfriend? What are you going to do when the media asks for a name?" "That's where you come in, boss," she said sweetly. "Rich, handsome, single, well, almost. You're perfect for the part. I have faith in you." It didn't take long for Leo, sitting in my old office, to discover that company profits were plummeting and new contracts had dried up completely. He didn't suspect me for a second. Instead, he told Isabella that my incompetence had run the company into the ground, and now it was up to him, the brilliant visionary, to save it. His grand plan for salvation: a massive gala to attract new investors and corporate partners. Vance Holdings still had some capital left, but after Leo's extravagant spending on the event, the accounts were wiped clean. When the CFO raised concerns, Leo was brimming with confidence. "Don't worry," he said. "After tonight, money will be pouring in. Just get ready to count it for me." Thanks to a massive promotional blitz, the gala went ahead as scheduled. Even with the company's accounts drained, Isabella and Leo arrived dressed in ridiculously expensive designer outfits. Perhaps still smarting from her encounter with Chloe, Isabella had specifically commissioned a dress identical to the one Chloe wore at her concert. The only problem was that she'd had it let out at the waist to fit her, completely ruining the garment's silhouette. Wearing a pop star's gown to a corporate finance event was bizarre enough, but the poor alteration made her the instant focus of ridicule. Whispers and stifled laughs followed her through the room. To save face, Isabella decided to take it out on me. She found me by the bar, having a quiet drink. "Ryan, what are you doing here? I told you to work security and manage the staff, not a freeload off of catering. You're a junior employee now. You need to start acting like it." Leo sidled up next to her, adding his own sneer. "Yeah, Ryan, without Bella, you're a nobody. Why don't you go stand with the other security guard by the door? You're ruining the atmosphere here." He then shot a subtle glance across the room, and a pack of reporters, clearly prepped, descended on me. "Mr. Miller," one of them began aggressively, "is it true you married Ms. Vance under the condition of a prenuptial agreement Because you are, in fact, infertile? The blatant, disgusting smear made my blood run cold. I looked at Isabella, who just stared back at me with a detached expression, as if this had nothing to do with her. We had been married for years, and I had never once set foot in her bedroom. And now she was letting them attack me with this lie. Unbelievable. My silence was taken as confirmation, and the crowd erupted in murmurs. Holy crap, he's sterile. That explains everything. No wonder he was willing to marry into her family. Wow, and they made this guy a CEO? I could do that job. Leo wrapped his arm around Isabella's waist, his eyes glinting with malicious glee. Mr. Miller. Oh, sorry, I should call you Ryan now. Would you be so kind as to crawl back to your post with a security team, like the pathetic stray you are? My fists clenched so tightly my knuckles turned white. Just as I was about to snap, a roar came from outside the ballroom. Chloe, I love you. Chloe, over here. You're a queen, Chloe. Hearing her name, Leo's expression instantly changed from a sneer to one of giddy excitement. He quickly straightened his suit, ran a hand through his hair, and rushed toward the entrance. Chloe Reed made her entrance, surrounded by a swarm of photographers and adoring fans. She was a vision. Dressed in a breathtaking gown, with perfectly styled hair and makeup, she instantly eclipsed everyone in the room. I could literally hear the collective gasp of the crowd, followed by an explosion of camera flashes. Ms. Reed, hello, I'm Leo Sterling. We met backstage at your concert, he began, blushing as he extended a hand. Chloe walked past him as if he were invisible. She came straight to me, took my arm, and leaned against me affectionately. Sorry I'm late, she whispered. The ballroom fell into a stunned silence. Every single person was staring at us. Isabella was the first to break the spell, pointing a trembling finger at me. The boyfriend Chloe Reed was talking about. It's you, she shrieked. Leo turned around slowly, his face a mask of disbelief. Ms. Reed, he stammered, you might not know this, but this guy is just a low-level employee here. And he's married. You can't let him fool you. Chloe didn't even bother to look at him. She just snuggled closer to me, practically melting into my side. I have a thing for married men, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. What's the problem? You seem to have a thing for seducing married women. The only difference is you chose a dried-up lemon, and I chose a diamond. She finished by giving Leo a playful, dismissive wink. Isabella, who had been watching the scene unfold, finally found her voice again, rounding on me with pure fury. Well, Ryan, so you had the nerve to cheat on me. Her face was a twisted mask of rage, as if I were the one who had wronged her. I slowly stood up, pulled out my phone, and sent a one-word text to Kevin. Now. I took a long, deep breath and looked at Isabella. That's a pretty ironic thing for you to say, I said, gesturing to the man standing beside her. Isn't he your new flavor of the month? I then turned to Leo, who was still sputtering. Thank you for showing me what a petty little tyrant looks like. And thank you for giving me the final push I needed to deal with Isabella and this company. But don't expect a parting gift. What did you say? Leo screamed, pointing at me. Don't think you can talk to me like that, just because Chloe Reed is on your arm. You still work for me. I order you to get on your knees right now. There it is again. That pathetic power trip, I said with a laugh. You really think being CEO makes you a king? Take a look in the mirror. You don't have the face for success. I pulled the equity acquisition documents from my jacket pocket and tossed them at him. Leo's face went white as he read the name of an unfamiliar corporation, Apex Entertainment and Media, followed by 100% ownership of Vance Holdings. He scrambled over to Isabella, shoving the papers in her face. Bella, what is this? What's going on? She looked completely lost. I don't know. Ryan handled all the company business. It took a second for the implication to sink in, and then her eyes shot to me, filled with venom. You stole my company. You're the one who handed me the keys, I said calmly, and you're the one who pushed me to do this. I'm firing you, she screamed, completely unhinged. You're fired from everything. Any contracts you signed are void. Vance Holdings doesn't recognize them. I don't recognize them. Watching her melt down, I could only manage a pitying smile. You can refuse to recognize them, sure. But Vance Holdings will have to pay a penalty 10 times the company's value. I suggest you check the company's bank accounts before you make any more threats. Isabella fumbled for her phone to call the CFO. I walked over to the window and finally lit a cigarette. A text from Kevin confirmed it. The final step was complete. The entire Vance Holdings empire, including the skyscraper bearing her family's name, was now mine. All Isabella had left were the penthouse and whatever little money remained in her personal accounts. Thanks to her and Leo's endless spending, her inheritance had dwindled to almost nothing. I remembered what her father told me on his deathbed. Isabella is wild and reckless. If she proves incapable of leading, you can take over the company. Just make sure she has enough to live on. Well, I had taken over the company, but I was about to go against his last wish. Chloe came and stood beside me. "How did you know I'd be here?" I asked, exhaling a cloud of smoke. "I thought Isabella had you banned. Leo secretly sent me an invitation." "Pathetic, right?" she said, leaning against the window. "Besides, I was worried about you. I figured it was 2 against 1, and you might need backup. You don't have much faith in your boss, do you?" "Well, I wasn't a brawler. I hit the gym regularly. You had to find something to do when you dreaded going home every night." Leo, on the other hand, starved himself to maintain his ethereal pretty boy look. I was fairly certain I could have handled both of them. "Of course I do," she smiled. "So, since I came to your heroic rescue, does that earn me a dinner invitation?" "Absolutely. Name the place, it's on me." We left without looking back. There was nothing left for me there. As soon as we stepped outside, we were mobbed by reporters. "Mr. Miller, you're not yet divorced from Ms. Vance, yet you're publicly appearing with Ms. Reed. Is this not a flagrant case of infidelity? We understand you came from nothing and Ms. Vance took you in. Do you have any remorse for betraying her like this? Is it true you married into the family because you're sterile? Please answer the question." I took a deep breath and faced the jackalls. Are you people serious? Where are all these tough questions when Isabella was the one cheating? When she held a press conference with Leo Sterling, did any of you ask if she had considered my feelings? They fell silent. I pointed to a specific reporter in the crowd. "I remember you. You wrote an article calling me a pathetic gold digger who deserved to be thrown out, saying Isabella and Leo were a match made in heaven, right? In your world, money equals nobility. So when a rich person cheats, it's a romance. But if someone from my background does, they're a parasite. Is that how it works?" I then took Chloe's hand and held it up for all of them to see. "You see this, and you jump to conclusions. You think you have your big scandal, but you're wrong. The real story is that I am Chloe Reed's boss. I'm the founder and CEO of Apex Entertainment. Is a CEO not allowed to escort one of his own artists to an event? Until now, I had instructed Kevin to keep my ownership of Apex quiet. But with the acquisition of Vance Holdings complete, there was no longer any reason to hide. 10 inches the car, back to the office, Chloe looked at me curiously. "Boss, why didn't you just say we were a couple? The publicity would have been insane." I rubbed my temples. "No, thank you. You're still young. I'm almost 30. The headlines would be all about me robbing the cradle. I'm scheduling a press conference for tomorrow to clear the air. You'll need to walk back the secret boyfriend story. Just say you were trying to help me out." "Oh," she said, looking down. After a long pause, she asked quietly, "So, to you, I'm just an asset, a money-making machine?" "No," I said softly, "but we're not what you think we are either. You focus on your art, and I'll handle the business. It's as simple as that." She was too young, and while undeniably beautiful, I was long past the point in my life where looks were all that mattered. Besides, I wasn't the kind of boss who took advantage of his employees. All I wanted to do now was nothing. 4 years at Vance Holdings, I had been a machine running 24/7. It was time for a break. But a break was impossible. My announcement had set off a media firestorm. I spent the next week in a blur of interviews and press conferences, sleeping less than 5 hours a night. I was even busier than before, but for the first time in years, my mind was at peace. Throughout that week, Isabella called and texted me relentlessly. I ignored every single one. My only communication was through my lawyer, who was pressuring her to sign the divorce papers. A few nights later, she cornered me in the parking garage below my office building. She looked terrible. Her hair was a mess, her clothes were wrinkled, and she looked like she hadn't showered in days. "Do you need something?" I asked, lighting a cigarette in front of her. She flinched at the smoke, but didn't say anything. Finally, she spoke, her voice thin. "Ryan, can we go back to how things were?" I let out a harsh laugh. Go back where? To the night you brought Leo Sterling into our bedroom. Can you stop being so cruel? I know I was wrong, but you're not completely innocent in this either. I held out my hands. Whoa, let's not go there. I'm not playing that game. Tears started streaming down her face. Ryan, please, she sobbed. Can you just give me my company back? It's all I have left from my father. I'm begging you. She looked at me with wide, pleading eyes. If you give it back, I'll stop fighting with you. I'll let you into my bedroom. We could be a real husband and wife. Please. She looked so pitiful, so broken. I know you still love me. Ryan, please, stop this game and come home. Excuse me, lady. Have you lost your mind? A sharp voice cut in. Chloe appeared out of nowhere, linking her arm through mine. Take a look in the mirror. With that pot belly and those crow's feet, who gave you the confidence to talk to my boss about love? Side by side with Chloe's youthful glow, Isabella looked even more worn down. But she still had her pride. You may be young, but that means nothing. Ryan and I have been married for years. We have history. You can't replace me. Correction, I said flatly. It was 2.5 years. Chloe burst out laughing. I had no desire to drag this out any longer. Just sign the divorce papers, Isabella, I said, turning to leave with Chloe. Suddenly, Isabella lunged forward and grabbed my arm. I instinctively shoved her away. The force of the push sent a small object flying from her hand, clattering onto the concrete floor. A digital voice recorder. My face hardened as I looked down at it, then back up at her. What is this? You're trying to record me to use it as leverage. No, that's not it, she stammered, panicking. I was worried you'd say no. If you had just agreed, I would have erased it. I picked up the recorder and slipped it into my pocket. I was worried you'd drag out the divorce, I said, my voice cold as ice. But now I don't have to wait anymore. This is more than enough. I knew my lawyer would know exactly how to use it to get her signature. 2 months later, my entire company moved into the newly rebranded Apex Tower, formerly Vance Tower. Kevin stood in the top floor CEO's office, my old office, and took a deep breath, his eyes tearing up. I can't believe this is my office now, he said. That's right. Kevin had also been a Vance Holdings employee, fired for a minor offense that had angered Isabella. I recruited him right after, and together, we secretly began laying the groundwork to take over. Over the years, I leveraged Isabella's neglect of the company and my deep relationships with its clients to slowly grow my own agency. Meanwhile, Vance Holdings bled contracts every time Isabella canceled a meeting or broke a promise. The smart employees saw the writing on the wall and jumped ship. I handpicked the best of them, building my own powerhouse team in the shadows. All that effort had finally paid off. I was the master of the empire I had built from the ashes of another. The media called me a backstabber, a parasite who had stolen another family's legacy. None of it mattered to me. What mattered was that my employees were thriving, their bank accounts were full, and my artists were commanding higher fees than ever before. 12 years passed. The company was stable and more profitable than ever. No one talked about Vance Holdings or Isabella Vance anymore. The industry only knew one name, Ryan Miller of Apex Group. Thanks to the company's tireless efforts, Chloe Reed had become a household name, a bona fide superstar with tens of millions of followers. At her album release party, everyone was drunk and celebrating. Chloe, her cheeks flushed with champagne, staggered over to me, a bottle in her hand. Boss, she slurred, I need to talk to you about something. I clinked my glass against her bottle. What's up? I feel like posting on social media again. Before I could react, she leaned in, snapped a quick selfie of the two of us, and then ducked under the table like a gremlin. A moment later, my phone started blowing up with notifications. Chloe Reed had just announced to the world that she had a boyfriend. And this time, there was a picture to prove it. The picture she had just taken with me. I sighed and pulled her out from under the table. Chloe, I said, unable to hide my smile, are you trying to get me canceled by your fans? I could already see the mountain of work this would create. My dream of finally taking a break would have to be put on hold, yet again.